Life.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rick Zanotti with Relate Corporation, and this is a Relate Tip. Today, let's talk a little bit about searching, web searching. You might think, why? Don't we all search? Aren't we always great at searching? Yeah, we all search. But do we search effectively? Do we search with the right idea in mind? I'd say more often than not, no. And that's because web searching allows you to do anything. And as a result, we tend to do anything, and we're not always thinking about the end result. That's a common thing. Now, joining me today is Harold Muliati. He's one of our graphic designers, multimedia people. He also does our show production and all sorts of stuff. Harold, you know a lot about searching.
Oh yeah, well, we had a little experience last week with searching where we're working on a project and it was getting a little slow because I was having trouble. I was getting bogged down trying to find a few things that I just and it turned out that if I had used a bit more specific search terms, then I probably would have found it a lot faster.
Yeah, and this is real typical. I asked Harold, hey, what happened? How come it took so long on this one particular project to find graphic or to do graphics? Because he's fast. And he thought about it and said, I got bogged down in searching. And that is very, very common. We see this with our clients. We see it internally. People know how to search, but they don't always know how to search specifically for what they're looking for. That's a real common problem. And for example, we had to look for something, for example, with, let's say someone holding a credit card. We're looking for a male holding a credit card. And, that normally sounds like an easy search, but it can get you in trouble. For example, in male holding a credit card, I think your search was something like people, business, credit card.
Well, what it was is I was trying to, I needed a picture of three people in an office, one of them holding a credit card. And what you figured out rather quickly was that it would be much easier to find a man holding a credit card and then put him into an office.
And then we worry about the rest later. So let's give you an idea. In the original search that Harold did, it was people, business,
it was
card, I think?
People, business, casual, card, I think is what I did.
Right. Now, before we go there, Google or any other search engine is going to go people. That's a big subset of everything. That's the whole set. People is 7 billion people on our planet. That's a lot of people. Business casual, is it business or casual card? Google may get confused. It may say, well, business casual, but it could also be a casual card. What is it going to do? It may get confused. So we have the very first word grabs a whole set of people. That's a very large set. The second one is a confused set of, is it business? Are we in a business? Are they business people? Is it a business card or a business? And, could have said casual. What's casual? Are we dressed casually or just a casual search? There's a lot of confusion in those words in terms of specificity. So let's see what that got. We're using Adobe Stock, which we subscribe to. And if you don't, it's a great resource for finding really good professional stock images. We used to go to iStock a lot. We used to do eLearning Brothers, whatever. There was a whole mess of different places we had stock images from, and nobody's been as good as Adobe Stock. And it's a little more expensive if you get, for example, we can download 750 images a month for $200. That's not bad. If I had to buy that on iStock, it would cost way, way more. And the quality of images is better than anybody else we've seen out here. And by the way, we get no money for this. We just use it. We're customers. That's it. All right. So what are we seeing in the results?
Well, let's see. Let's enter this. And the first things we are seeing, we see a man close up holding a credit card. There's another man holding a credit card close up, so it's just his hand. And even the problem was, even though I put people, it was just showing one person, and there was, let's see, we see one guy holding a credit card, sort of, although that's actually a business card.
So with that search, we're getting a lot of different things. We're not quite narrowing it down to what we need, at least quickly. So we tried something a little bit different. we went in and said, man holding credit card. So now we're narrowing down. We get lots of men. We were looking for men. If we were looking for women, we would say woman holding credit card. The whole idea here is we've narrowed down. We've specified. We've just cut people in half or more. We're now saying a genus of men. We don't want everybody else. We don't want women in this case. We don't want dogs. We don't want whatever. We want men. So that's giving us males. Holding a credit card is allowing us to. The screen went off. Holding a credit card allows us to see just the credit card working.
Oh, we just lost our.
We just lost our screen. Hold on a second. That's fine.
Let me check our cable.
I think we're okay. It just.
Cable was loose.
And welcome to live TV. Okay, the cable just got unloose. Here we go. So let's continue.
All right.
So in our search now, we're getting really kind of what we needed. If we need more people, we can always find more people later and put them into an office background. So what we're doing is we're trying to minimize the amount of searching we do to get as close to a result as we need. Now you may think, well, that's silly. We all know that. You would be surprised how often people do searches with big returns, not small ones. Remember, on a search, you want something pretty specific because you don't want to spend your time going through 150 page results. And when you're dealing with Google or Bing, first you have to deal with all the advertisements on every page, and there's quite a few. Then you've got to go down and find where the real stuff starts, and then find something that maybe matches what you're doing. When you're looking at stock imagery, for example, or audio or whatever else, you're trying to limit it as much as possible to a really small sampling of what their database has. You've got millions of photos, videos, whatever, in Adobe Stock. How do you get to the right thing quickly? If we, for example, ask for man smiling, let's say woman smiling, so women get their fair break here. Sorry about that, women. So now we have women smiling, and we're getting
All women
all
smiling.
women smiling, but we're getting a lot of different age groups. We're getting different looks. Let's say, for example, and don't take this wrong. I've worked in companies that did talent management, and literally for video companies, for movies, for whatever, magazines. And in a talent database, you will find gender, male, female. You will find race. So you're looking for African American, black, white, green, yellow, blue, whatever you want, whatever. That's all codified. So let's say we have a lot of women smiling here, but that's a big one. Let's say we want to see older women. So we want to say middle-aged woman smiling.
And we have smiling middle-aged women.
And so now we have women that meet that criteria. It's not that hard to get a more specific search. It's just think about it before you immediately start typing, because you'll get varying degrees. Now, if we type something different like smiling women, older, what do we get here?
Also, older smiling women, but different pictures.
For different pictures. Because maybe this they perceive as older for some odd reason.
These
So-
must be tagged older.
Somehow these photographers tagged them as older, like Harold said. So be careful. Now, there's not a ton of these, but you get enough of for what you're looking for. Let's say we're looking for somebody from Asia. Let's say we're looking for Asian woman smiling. And we're getting Asian women smiling?
Yes.
Yeah. So the tagging on the photo database is excellent. We're finding everything we want. Let's try something a little bit different. Let's say woman smiling, black.
And we are getting
And
black women smiling.
We're getting black women smiling. I did that one on purpose because not all photos may be codified as black. Let's now type woman smiling and change black to African American. And this may not get you what you want. It may.
Similar set of images.
Yeah.
Some women in traditional African dress.
Right. Because we added the word African. You notice it changes the search criteria. Now we're getting more traditional African dress, or we may be getting people from Africa. It's interesting, but the words we use and in the order we use them could be totally different. Google is going to look at the first word and go, main word, important. It's going to, subsequent words are less important. You can also add a plus to a search. And I think on Adobe you can do that too. So for example, if we say woman plus black and hit enter. Are we getting...
Let's see. Similar set of images of black women, but there's some difference. There are different ones. There are
Right.
more black backgrounds, I guess.
Right, because again, black isn't always construed by the search engine as a racial thing. So we're seeing things that may not match what we're looking for. So the more specific you are in your search results, in your search question, your criteria, the more specific the results will be. And that's going to save you time. You may not think about that, but if you're having to search for 100 images and you're having search issues on 100 of them, that's going to take you hours and hours to go through and find the image you want. He had another one where he was looking for, I think it was like, oh, you composited 6 people in a scene. 6 just random people in this one scene. And I said, so that took a long time to find 6 people that fit what he was looking for. And I said, why don't you type in something like 6 people? So he typed in 6 people. And lo and behold, he's getting groups of 6 people. So those are things to keep in mind. When you're looking for many, and you don't have any specific criteria on what the many are, it takes a longer time to look for 6 individual pictures than it does to maybe look for a group picture which could be used.
And there actually are some here which are just a picture with 6 individual pictures of people. So that would probably be even closer to what I needed.
So what we're doing here is just trying to figure out ways to cut the criteria. Just make it smaller, make it very specific to what you're looking for. The more specific the result back will be. And that means you'll be saving a lot of time. If you spend hours and hours every day looking for images, many times we do, and we're really heavy on projects, we spend hours looking for stuff. If we can cut that back into minutes, that's a huge amount of savings in terms of the amount of overhead we're spending to find something from a database. Now, again, if you're looking for anything, whether it's Google products or whatever else, always remember you can use a plus sign. Plus sign says, whatever you find, I also need this as part of it. So if we say something like old man plus suspenders, now is that a stereotype or what? And hit enter. Do they all have suspenders?
Yes.
If we just said old man, you might get some suspenders, you might get no suspenders, you might get some, depends, who knows what you're going to get. But you're not going to find exactly what you're looking for. But the minute you add plus, the plus happens after the first part of the search occurs. So it says old men plus suspenders. That means they have to have suspenders on. Then if the image is tagged correctly, you'll see the old man with the suspenders. And that would limit your time in searching rapidly, very, very quickly. And you could find somebody probably pretty quickly and you're done. You move on. The rest would be the cutting out, cropping, taking out backgrounds, whatever you need to do. But the whole key is to minimize the amount of time you're searching, because you could spend weeks searching. Believe me, there are some search results that just never give you quite what you want. And, kind of a rule of thumb would be, if your first result doesn't work, take a look at the words, try to figure out how specific, what's my first word? Whatever that is that good enough? Are we limiting it already? No. If we're not, find a word that limits it better. For example, we were looking the other day for buildings, I think.
Yes, I was looking for an industrial business building, like a warehouse or a factory.
And what was your search?
I think it was
Something
Business building isolated.
isolated.
Yeah. Isolated.
So what I mentioned to Harold is the word isolated will bring up a depressed building, somebody isolated, alone, marginated, depressed. Could happen. Because again, words have meanings, and left to their own, it may not have the meaning you want. So what was the result of that?
There are I guess it came up mostly with icons of buildings.
Okay. Now try something else. Use the first part and say plus isolated.
Let's see. Plus isolated.
Did that make a change?
Yeah, it's actually coming up with more just isolated
See.
buildings.
It's all how you structure your searches. The important part, it's kind of like algebra. What's in parentheses and then what you do afterwards. So in the parentheses, really you have your initial search string. And then the plus says also every image within that search string has to have an isolated description somehow, meaning the buildings alone. Now, we came up with a different search yesterday. We just said single building or single warehouse building. So single says one. I want one of these. Warehouse is a type of building, and building was a description of what we're single warehousing. And what'd you get?
There were a few here, but most of them were pictures of doors for whatever reason.
Okay. Interesting, because single warehousing. Yeah, I could see that. And then we did the other search of warehouse building. And now we're seeing
And these are all photos of warehouses.
probably closer to what you were looking for.
Closer, but
But if now if you could say warehouse building plus single, let's see if that works.
and now it is coming up with a few more, I think.
And the whole idea is to try to narrow that search as much as possible. So somewhere within the first page or second, you have a match. Boom, you're done, move on, go to the next one. If you're having to spend more than a couple minutes to get one image, the search criteria is wrong. Something's not working right. And more often than not, the search databases are pretty well tagged. Sometimes they're arcane, or we come up with arcane words, and it won't find exactly what we're looking for. Because, again, the search engine doesn't always think in the same phrases that we might think in. So we always have to be careful with that. And if you speak foreign language, let's say we're talking about English right now, but this will apply to any language on earth. If you speak in the language and invert things or give it a search that is inverse to what you're trying to find, it will get confused and probably do the exact opposite of what you want. So the whole idea here is specificity. Keep your search simple. The most important part of the search up front, what describes that search, or what's important first of all in that search, and then you bring it down some more, and then you can also say plus whatever has to apply to anything that was found in that search. And that's just some quick tips on how to do better searching, save some time for yourself, and a lot of grief too, because it's frustrating for you and for others when you can't get the stuff you're looking for quickly. Because nobody wants to sit there and go through hundreds of pages, and believe me, we've all done that. Same with audio files. You want to go into just for a quick idea. You want to go into audioblocks.com. So here we have audioblocks.com. It's a music site we use often to find audio.
All right, we are in.
Okay, so we're in Audioblocks. So in the search, we're looking for a 10-second intro. So let's just type in 10 seconds. And then we hit enter. And let's see if we can hear this. So he's going to play that. Do you think it's giving us audio?
No, I don't think it's coming through.
No audio coming through. Okay, so probably a bad idea. We can't show you. But if you notice, we got quite a few results, but they may not be the results we want. We might want to narrow that to 10 seconds pop, 10 seconds rock, 10 seconds jazz, whatever. And now you're narrowing it down to the kind of audio you want rather than music. Music is going to give you a million things. So what are you looking for? What kind of music? What kind of audio? Are you looking for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, a minute, a whole clip? Are you looking for a specific genre of audio? These are all things that will make your search more useful. If you have any questions, put a note in Facebook or on YouTube, wherever you're watching this, and we will try to answer as quickly as possible. Thanks a lot. For Relay Corporation, I'm Rick Zanotti, joined by Harold Muliati. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.